What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the newest episode of the Bleav in Oregon podcast. I'm Zachary Neel. My co-host over there is Jonathan Stewart. Jay Stu, what's up, man? How we doing?
I'm doing good. It's a great week.
It is a great week. This is the week that we've been waiting for all year long. The week that
Yeah.
we've had circle on the calendar since the schedules were released this spring. Ohio State is coming to town.
Mm-hmm. And hopefully, their stay is not welcome.
Yeah, we'll see. The hype is already off the charts for this one.
Yeah.
You can feel the buzz in Eugene. College game day is coming. It's gonna be the first ever top 5 matchup played inside Autzen Stadium, which is kind of crazy to me. And the
Mm-hmm.
winner of this is gonna be, on a clear path to the college football playoff. How do you feel just like generally going into this game?
I feel good, man. I'm excited for, the players.
Mhm,
The players are going to be able to experience, for their first time being on a national stage like this. Um, your first year when they wanted to run the ball.
mhm,
And that screams to me a team that has total control, or the ability to have total control
mhm.
in hostile environments, when things aren't going as well as you would want them to go. You play defense and you run the ball. And I'm so excited to see that carry over into this game because it's going to be needed. Um, it's going to be a fist fight. You got to be able to walk into this thing swinging. Um, so
I
I'm
just
excited.
I just can't wait to see that style of football that Oregon's playing right now against another elite team. It's just gonna
Yeah.
be we finally get to see, put this team to the test. It's just gonna be really interesting.
Yeah,
Uh,
Jordan James, I'm excited to see him be able to take his game on into another level. If he
Absolutely.
runs the rock like he's been running and he does it exactly how he's been doing and probably even better, I hope, against an Ohio State defense, it's gonna like give me chills. I mean, I'm I get chills just thinking about
Yeah,
it. Because I got chills watching him run against Michigan State.
it's incredible.
A- and the offensive line just, basically creating these running lanes that anyone could really run through. But then you add Jordan James to the mix, making guys miss in the secondary is becoming his specialty.
Yeah. We are going to switch things up a little bit just because it's such a big matchup. We were fortunate to have Chimdi Chekwa and Bryant Browning on the show today, the two hosts of the Bleav in Buckeyes podcast. We taped a great interview with them that you will hear soon, looking at the matchup from Ohio State perspective and kind of what to expect, what their thoughts are going into this game. Before we do that, let's take care of some quick housekeeping. Just real quick, if you tuned into our post game show on Saturday, you noticed it was myself and Jerry Allen doing the recap show while Jay Stu had the day off. We're going to be trying something new going forward with Jay Stu and I doing our normal Tuesday shows, but I'm going to have a rotating cast of guests come on for the post game shows on the weekend to break things down. This just makes it a little simpler with, timing and schedules. And Jay Stu's a very, very busy man. So this might work out better for us going forward. So that's just what you can expect. Jay Stu, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, man, just the time zones
Time
at the end of the
zones, man.
day.
It's tough.
It's
Time
tough.
zones, kids, jobs,
Yeah,
obligations,
especially I have to I
everything.
have to cover I'm covering some NFL stuff. So
Yeah.
Sundays after a Saturday game, it's kind of tough for me.
Yeah, it's brutal. This I think will work out for all of us going forward and get you a chance to hear some new voices too. I mean, if you listen to that episode with Jerry on Saturday, incredible. And we're gonna have Jorgie on soon and just other guys come down to break down games. So it'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and get to our conversation with the Buckeyes boys. But first, I have a question for you, Jay Stu.
Yeah.
What is your favorite quality in a hat?
Ah, I'm glad you asked. My favorite quality in a hat is that it looks good. At least one of my favorites,
That's always
It's
key.
gotta fit.
It's gotta
Number
fit.
one is definitely the fit. It's gotta
Yeah,
fit good. But part of the fit is the look, right? For my
totally.
head, I got a peanut-sized head, big old head, and it's gotta fit well, which means if it fits well, it's gonna look good. And so, and if you look good, you play good. And if you play good,
They pay good.
you pay good. Little Deion Sanders there for you. But yeah, Mellon does a great job of just, understanding the needs of the person that wears hats on a daily basis. I mean, I can throw this hat on if if I don't have a haircut, I'm not lined up, feeling fresh. I throw this on, and I feel good. You
Looking
know,
good. Looking good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
we're
man. You're looking really good too in that
I
green.
appreciate it, man. We love our sponsor, Melon. They've been sending us a ton of hats over the past few
Yeah,
months, and honestly, I have trouble every day choosing which one to wear. I got this green one, I got a really nice white one, a white snapback I go to. What's great
yeah.
about these hats is they are built to last 5 times longer than any other hat. They're also made of natural antimicrobial properties, so sweat does not break down the hat. You got no sweat stains and no smell. In the summer months, they're great because they're built for the water. They don't lose their shape if you take them in the water and wash them, and they also float if they are dropped in the water if you're out boating with them. In the summer months, I wear the Hydro collection that is waterproof and good for the water. But I'm excited to jump into the new Thermal collection as soon as we get into the winter months coming on. That's coming close. We're now in October, so it's going to start getting a little cold out here. If you're looking for the world's most durable hat, look no further. Go to melon.com. That's melin.com and put it to the test yourself.
Get yourself a melon hat for your melon head.
All right, I'm thrilled to welcome in both Chimdi Chekwa and Bryant Browning, our good friends from the Bleav in Buckeyes podcast. We're going to try and keep things civil today ahead of this top 5 matchup, first ever top 5 matchup in Austin Stadium this weekend. Guys, thank you for coming on. How are you doing today?
Oh man, doing great, fantastic. Looking forward to the weekend for some good old fashioned competition. Right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm locked in this week, man. No chores, no home
Wow.
responsibilities.
How'd
It's
you
all
pull that
football.
off? Wait, I want to know your secret.
I mean, we are, you just have to start. You have to go through the training camp process and everything else, just like the team. It can't be a surprise. You got to go through off season. We had our spring football. We had our summer break. So it's time. Everyone knows it's time.
I love it. Well, I want to start with this as a baseline. For you guys, what is the general feeling in Ohio State right now through the first 5 games of the year? Do you feel like, and for the general fan base, do you think the team has met expectations, exceeded expectations? Where are you guys at with this team right now?
Well, I think it's hard to meet expectations at Ohio State when it comes to the fan base in general. So I would say they did it. I think the lofty goal of meeting Ohio State expectations is tough, and I think so far, and it's not like Ohio State has played a bunch of tough teams so far, but I think the way they've played, outside of a few mishaps here and there that everybody criticizes for the whole week until the next game. That's just how it is. But I think they've showed that they can be better than what they were last year, more consistent in all three phases of the game.
I've been reading a lot of these articles about, how physical the Ohio State Buckeyes are this year in comparison to, recent times.
hmm
What stands out in the games that you guys watched that can basically be the example of why they are more physical?
Yeah, that's really a simple one. It comes down to our offensive line. I mean, the last
Mhm.
several seasons, our offensive line has not been up to par. Last season in particular, it felt like a lot of times our guys could do the job, but they were just going in the wrong direction, right? They wasn't
Mhm.
identifying guys. They wasn't identifying the second level, and it kind of showed. You see just guys free in the backfield and things of that nature. This year under your guys' guy, right, under Chip Kelly, looks like he was able to kind of maybe simplify things, make things a little bit, clear cut, and the guys are playing fast and they're playing physical. And so I think that's the biggest check on that is just really our offensive line has been playing well and good and physical and strong. And I think because of that, the whole team look like they're really marching to a different tune for sure.
Yeah, I think that consistency and being, everyone doing the right thing, the attention to detail, what Brian mentioned. I think Chip Kelly has brought in some structure that we felt like was missing in the run game. And then, I mean, two great running backs also help, right? Like two explosive running backs that benefit from that. And I think having an identity of being a team that could be physical in the run has really helped out the situation.
I'm glad you guys brought up Chip Kelly because I want to ask you about that. We talked about him, before we started the season. Oregon fans obviously know him very well. He's still very much adored in Eugene, honestly. If you ask the average Oregon fan, they still like him a lot. Do you feel like fans have been very impressed with him so far? I mean, do they feel like they're happy with that hire and where he's got this offense going?
I would say overall, yeah. I mean, be frank, he's been pretty quiet, and I think that's one of the benefits that he wanted in coming to Ohio State. He could leave all the talking and media stuff, lead that up to Coach Day. So really, you really haven't heard much from him. And obviously, since the offense has been playing fairly decent, it's not much to criticize, right? And I think before the season, Coach Day said that Chip has a set out plan on how he wants the offense to kind of progress throughout the season. And starting with the run, doing some things over top, and I think he wanted to kind of keep progressing throughout the year so far. So I think so far so good.
When it's a TBD situation, man.
You're right.
It's really going to depend on this weekend, right? That's one, and moving forward, and then obviously the big game at the end of the year. So, so far so good, right? But we can, fans can turn on a coach in an instant. Right?
In an instant.
Ohio State fans, it's not just the head coach. Like, they will find a special teams coordinator. They'll go find
y'all got some legit football fans that are legit breaking down film every single game. 22 eye view film strategy, like all of that. I've been peeping it because what I like to do is whoever we're facing, I like to go and hear what the enemy is talking about, right? So speaking of the enemy, right, we're talking to y'all, so we're trying to get our audience up to game and sped up right quick. But I've been checking out Ohio State's a couple of the podcasts and a couple of content that's on YouTube, and there's a lot of folks out there breaking down film on these guys, man. And I mean, critiquing the heck out of these players. I'm like, wow. I mean, they're right. Yeah, that is right. He wasn't in the right spot.
Arguing about it. Like, no, this is cover 2. No, this definitely was a cover 4. I'm like, damn, man, a coach can really just come in here and answer these questions for everybody trying to speculate. Yeah, that's what makes it fun week to week. No matter who we play, like, just scrutinizing everything. So this is obviously the big week. And I mean, you just breaking down Ohio State film. I mean, Ohio State fans are breaking down Oregon film as well, and looking at what they have coming in. Zach, so during I think it was during camp, you went viral.
Oh,
right?
God.
I
remember. I had to mute that tweet real quick.
Oregon being that team out west, right? So, I mean, this weekend is, I guess, the first, I guess, real opportunity to solidify Oregon as the team out west, right?
Well, can I just say something to all of your listeners that I hope are listening to this? Jay Steele and I did not come up with that team out west. We talked to the guy who was part of the team that came up with that team out west, and the fact that we put that out, everyone's like, oh my God, these two idiots don't even know ball. They don't know that they're talking about a Pro Bowl running back who played for the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
And yes, I'm an idiot that doesn't know ball. That's fine. They got that right. But they're like, oh, these two idiots, they came up with that team out west. They'll never be that. Whatever. Okay, we went viral. Great for the podcast. Our bosses loved it. So, yeah, no, but I think that
we are not responsible. We can't really take full credit. But you want to know something? Oregon has an opportunity absolutely this weekend to put on display that they are that team out west.
Yeah,
absolutely. But I think that's what this weekend brings. That's interesting is that this is the first chance for us to learn really a lot about both teams, because you talked about Ohio State hasn't really played anyone. Oregon hasn't really played one either. Like, they played Boise State, I think the best game on their schedule. Boise State looks pretty good right now. They're ranked. They've got the Heisman front runner, Ashton Jeanty. But aside from that, there's not really any good measuring sticks. The one team they've played the same as Michigan State. They both handled them pretty easily. So it's kind of weird going into such a big game when you really don't know a ton about either school.
Right.
Yeah. Did you guys feel like the Iowa game, panned out the way you expected it to pan out? Did you expect Iowa to be way more physical than they put on film?
Whenever playing Iowa, it's going to be a physical game, right? And we know going into it, they're led by their running back.
It looked like y'all pushed them around.
Yeah. I think it was pretty impressive. I mean, that was our first test of like, I guess what you want to call old school Big Ten ball, right? We know Iowa's going to bring that, and like we say, this season, has been a point of emphasis on being like trying to be the toughest team. And everybody know when it comes to football, being tough is stopping the run and running the ball, right? So against a team like Iowa to kind of go out there and put out that performance, us rushing the ball, stopping their run, I think they did a pretty good job, pretty impressive for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't. You find out throughout the season how good a team really is, right? But Iowa is. I mean, they just bring that reputation of physical football, whether they're good, whether they're bad. When we played Iowa and we played Wisconsin and those teams, as a corner, I strapped up my chin strap extra tight, knowing that I was going to have to, come up and make some tackle. Right, they were going to force me to go tackle, and it was going to be a physical game. So, the score is one thing, but I think what we really liked is how they won the game. Right, being able to consistently run the ball against a team who's focused on stopping the run, and then being able to stop the run against a team who's focused on running the ball. And you still don't really know until you match up against a team like Oregon. But that's like the best test to me going into this type of game. I like the ramp up. I don't care about whether or not we play somebody early. We're playing somebody. Like somebody's on the schedule. So who cares who we play at the beginning of the year? There's somebody in the conference that's on the schedule. And this is what I think they've been working up toward.
Let's get into this game on Saturday. Brian, I'll start with you. I'm just curious. There's a lot of hype. Game day is going to be here. First ever, like I mentioned, first ever top 5 matchup at Autzen Stadium. When you're looking at this game, Bryant, what is your biggest concern for Ohio State coming to this game? I know what I'm concerned about with Oregon and their chances to win this game. Like I know if this goes wrong, they might not win. What is that for you when you look at Ohio State?
What it really comes down to to me, it's really containing the quarterback, right? Containing Gabriel. Obviously, we know he's a dynamic player. I mean, obviously, he's been doing it for a little bit, right? He had a pretty good season
13
last year.
years, 14
Right.
years.
He's been doing it for a while. And I know historically, Ohio State, guys that has the ability to actually throw the ball and scramble has given us trouble in the past. So I know it's a game where you kind of got to approach the rush the correct way, right? Not leave so many lanes, kind of squeeze the pocket to affect his game. So, and my thing is really early, right? Kind of keep him in the bubble early, be in the right places, do the right things, be consistent, do what you coach to do. I'm sure that's how they're going to coach it. So they got to go out there and actually do it, and don't let him kind of get rolling. Because when I see out of Oregon, once he's get rolling, right, making some of those plays, then it kind of comes in the snowball effect, right? They just kind of start racking up a bunch of touchdowns in the fast pace from there. So,
Chimdi, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, our entire fan base, I think, at this point agrees that Ohio State has struggled the most so far is a mobile quarterback, spreading everybody out, getting a light box, and being able to run the ball to quarterback. And then in passing situation, quarterback scramble, finding guys open, being able to run. So that's been the biggest challenge so far, with very few challenges. On the offensive side of the ball, I think there's kind of this still this wait and see of who is Will Howard really. Like, who is he going to be ultimately? What is his ceiling? Because I think in these first few games, with so much dominance in the run game, the quarterback's responsibility is limited. He's been very accurate. He's been really good. But then you also have Jeremiah Smith catching one-handed. He doesn't need two hands to catch the ball. So, if a team forces him to catch with two, like, it's a different situation. So I think the fan base in general is kind of waiting to see, in a big game with real pressure, what can Will Howard do? But I want to turn that same question to you. What are your biggest concerns?
Throw that to Jay Stu. I was just going to ask him what he thought about for Oregon.
Yeah, I think one of my biggest issues will be, red zone. I think we have to be able to capitalize in the red zone, especially against you guys. You guys have 21 trips to the red zone and 20 touchdowns. So you guys are efficient. And that's not a surprise to me because that's exactly who Chip Kelly is. He's very opportunistic in the red zone, very creative. Does a lot of, when it comes to the passing game, does a lot of rub combinations in the passing routes. And you just have to figure out on both sides of the ball how to be efficient in red zone. You got to keep these guys out, and we got to make sure we score and capitalize. And I think last week we saw Dylan Gabriel struggle there. And I mean, really the last 2 weeks. Have ourselves in a prime, situation to score and, throwing picks. And not just a pick, we threw a pick six against UCLA. Those types of errors can win or lose a very close and important game. This is going to be a game of momentum, and one way to do it is score in the red zone when you're supposed to. So,
Yeah,
I think red zone is definitely one of the things that I'm hoping that we're just very opportunistic and efficient in.
Yeah, I agree with that. Building off that, it's playing mistake-free football. We've seen, I mean, you talk about some NBA players like Russell Westbrook are kind of like 90-10 players. 90% of what they do is so great. 10% makes you want to pull your hair out. That's kind of how I feel about this Oregon team. 90% of the time, they are an incredibly elite team, really good on offense and defense. 10% of the time, they're making mistakes. They're throwing picks in the end zone. They're making penalties. Holding calls instead of drive back that just drive you crazy as a fan or someone who watches the game. So you can get away with those when you're playing Idaho or Boise State or UCLA or Oregon State. You can't get away with that. You can't get away with red zone interception against Ohio State and expect to win. So that's the one thing that I look at with this team and say, hey, if you want to win this game, you got to play mistake-free football, which we haven't seen a full game that's mistake-free yet, but that doesn't mean we can't this Saturday.
I got a question. Have you guys seen a lot of no huddle from your offense this year?
No.
I don't think so. No, I mean, no huddle, but not like hurry up.
Yeah, not hurry up. Yeah.
Because I just remembered how Chip Kelly preached to us how we are going to win every single play because we're going to be the most conditioned. We're going to wear guys down. We're going to the physicality comes when the other guy across from you is tired, right? You run them to the ground by being efficient with your blocking schemes and finding seams, and then you line up immediately and do it again. So I'm just curious to see, and if you guys have not seen it, one of the things I would be worried about as well is what does Chip Kelly have planned? He has all the time in the world to be sitting in his cave, coming up with a master plan. So, I think, for the defensive side of the ball for Oregon, we have to be ready for the unexpected.
Yeah, and maybe I'm just thinking it up in my head, but I think there's some stuff that they have planned offensively and defensively. And I think the luxury of that comes from not having no one's really serious on your schedule until Iowa being a different type of football team, a different type of approach to the game, where even if you game plan for Iowa, it's still different, a little bit different than what you would do versus Oregon. So I do think and you can see Chip Kelly has kind of built up week to week on offense of doing a little bit more, but it still doesn't look like he's really cooked up much so far. So I'm hoping at least that he's saving some for this game. One thing about just watching Oregon, I kind of get the sense that they kind of feast off the run and explosive plays. Ohio State has made it a point so far, even last year, to limit the explosives and force the team to work down the field and then get in the red zone and go score. What is Oregon's kind of strength offensively from your point of view?
I mean, they've wanted to get the explosive plays all year. That's just kind of how Oregon is. Bread and butter, you run the ball, take a shot, explosive plays. They've struggled a little bit connecting on those explosive plays so far. We finally saw last week against Michigan State, they really opened it up and they were able to get Jordan James into the second level and run in. And he had the best game of his career at 151 yards at halftime. They're working on that, but that's a huge point of emphasis. We talked to Dan Lanning last night after practice, and he's talking about how Ohio State is really, really good at stopping those explosive plays. So they're going to have to draw something up to try and, get into that second level and get those big chunk yard plays. But I know it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the defense has been the biggest strength for Oregon this year?
Oh, absolutely, hands down.
Mhm.
I mean, that front seven is active. You talk about guys, you play defense. All you want to see from a coaching standpoint on defense is guys flying to the ball like some dogs. Like, when you see a bunch of dogs outside, I can only imagine like one of those old mechanic junkyards, right? They got all them dogs in there, and all they hear is that plate drop on the concrete,
Mhm.
and then you just hear a bunch of dogs just coming, right? And I just think to myself, that's exactly what we are seeing out of the Oregon defense especially the last 3 weeks. You see guys chasing the ball, showcasing their athleticism at the defensive line. Our defensive ends, are something serious.
Yeah.
Jordan Birch, he's coming into his own and basically figuring out. All of a sudden, a light bulb goes off in his head. Oh, I'm bigger than a lot of these people. I'm longer than a lot of these guys. Let me, capitalize here. He's been very dominant, the last 3 weeks, and what I hope is to see that continue. Right. This is, I think, a great game for a lot of NFL scouts. Are probably just the first thing smoking out to Oregon, right? To watch this game, because you're going to be able to see the showcasing of a lot of one-on-one matchups, right?
Yeah.
How good is the left tackle? How good is the right tackle? How good is the defensive end? Because you're going to be able to see this work happen in the trenches.
Yeah, I would say for Ohio State defensively, I think they're going to give Gabriel a lot to look at from the secondary, a lot of different types of looks and get into certain coverages. Some interesting blitzes as well, which I don't think they've done a lot of so far. So I think they're really going to try to affect the quarterback. But at the end of the day, I think either way, it still comes down to them being able to stop the run.
Mhm. I want to close it out with this. Chimdi and Brian, I'm going to ask you both to answer this question. Chimdi, I'll start with you. If you could finish this sentence for me, Ohio State wins on Saturday if, and Ohio State loses on Saturday if. What do you think those answers are?
Yeah, I think they win if they can continue to. I don't want to take Brian's answer, so I'm a focus. I think they win if they can get to the quarterback. I think they have an ability to do it. They got a lot of talent in the secondary to disguise coverages and do different things and to potentially force some turnovers. I think if they affect Dylan Gabriel, they win. Yeah, they win for sure. But they also have to stop the run. I think it starts with stopping the run, and then from there affecting the quarterback.
And they lose if what?
They'll lose if they can't contain a running quarterback. Uh, light box, some young linebackers. If Oregon can, kind of spread us out and run the ball, that'll make it a long day for the Buckeyes.
Bryant, your answers?
All right. So Ohio State wins if we block Jordan Birch. Let's make it that simple. Right? It's like no, but seriously though, if up front we go out there and take care of business, be prepared as we have been prepared throughout the season. I know Oregon's going to come. They're not just going to line up and come straight at us, right? They're going to play some games up front with the defensive line, especially in known passing situations. And definitely going to try to light them up with the blitz and try to be excited with it as well. So if our offensive line can kind of stick to their keys, stick to guys, keep our quarterback clean, give him an opportunity, give him a shot, I feel very confident that we win the game. I feel like we lose this game if we do not tackle. So this is a game against Oregon where we know that they have speed. And the best way to stop speed is to kind of try to hit it hard, right? And against Oregon, we're going to have to just kind of be our keys, be in our lanes, don't give up explosive plays. And obviously, this is a good team. They're going to get us. But when we have an opportunity to get a guy down, we have to be able to get that guy down and live to make it to the next down. So,
Yep, I love it. It's good. You guys got anything else before we get out of here?
Yeah. Oh, come, let's sing.
All right, let's wrap it up there.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Okay. All right. All right, let's wrap it up. You can find them both at Chimcheck and at BR_Browning on Twitter. Check out the Bleav in Buckeyes podcast. They'll be all over the game, both previewing and breaking it down over the next few days. So give them a follow. Guys, thank you guys for coming on. It's been a great pleasure. I hope you have a terrible Saturday.
We appreciate it, guys. We appreciate
All right,
it.
y'all. Good seeing y'all, man. Go Ducks.
Okay, let's turn our heads towards this Ohio State game and get into the gambling corner. Again, all of our odds are brought to you by our sponsor, Bet Online. The Ducks are 3.5-point home underdogs in this game, plus 135 on the money line with an over-under of 52.5. So they are not favored to win against Ohio State. What is your initial read on this? If you had to bet this game, where do you think you would land?
Well, I'm taking Oregon.
Okay. Get that off right off the bat. All right. Get that out of the way.
Right off the bat. And I'm going with a player prop.
Player prop. I love this.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go with Jordan James over 100 yards.
I knew it was gonna be that.
Tez Johnson over 50 yards receiving.
Going a little player parlay, huh?
I'm gonna say a anytime touchdown, Tez Johnson, and I think I'm gonna just stop there.
Okay, I like it, man. All right, so you feel confident in Oregon's offense in this game, even
I feel very
the fact
confident.
Ohio State's defense is, I think, 4th best in the nation in passing defense and 3rd best in the nation in rushing defense.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, right? I know they've been talking a lot about the physicality piece and, the tabloids talking about how much physical they are this year. They haven't really played anyone yet.
True.
I feel like we've had more of a test of those trials than Ohio State has. And we haven't had a complete game, right? Something that you've been harping on for the last 4 weeks. I still have not seen it, right?
Still have not seen it.
Which is a good thing because we have the opportunity to still have that game. And I feel like being able to work through the kinks and go through a little bit of, finding out who we are as a unit is a special opportunity for these guys. And going into this game and coming off of last week's win and how you won, it just basically equalizes things. And hopefully we see a complete product when it matters.
Yeah, when I look at this game, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm struggling with this pick. It's a classic head versus heart pick for me. My head tells me that Ohio State minus 3.5 is the play. I'm not gonna lie. I like what I've seen from them on the field more than what I've seen from Oregon. I know they haven't played really much great competition at all. Iowa's a solid team, but Oregon hasn't played great competition either. I mean, I think Boise State's the best team they've played. And, Boise State's they're a good ranked team, but just the mistakes that I've seen from Oregon so far give me a little bit of trouble. But in my heart, I mean, that's my head telling me that. That's me trying to be smart. My heart thinks and knows that this team is really good and can be really good. And I want to believe that they can be that team against Ohio State. So I'm trying to stay unbiased and look at this from like 1,000-foot view, but that's hard when you're kind of in the middle of it right now. I'm leaning towards Ohio State minus 3.5. I don't feel good about it. I'm definitely not sure about it. One thing I am sure, though, is I'm going to be taking the under 52.5 because I don't think this is a high-scoring game. These are two very good defenses. I think I think we've got somewhere in the 20-17, 24-20 range.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Okay.
It's definitely going to be a close game, but I think we come out on top. And it really comes down to coaching for me, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You got to get in the red zone, and you have to really understand the flow of the game.
Yeah.
What is the end result going to be?
Yeah.
Is it going to be an incomplete pass, a pick, or are you going to run it in for a touchdown? with the possibility of it being fumbled,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't see them being able to stop our run game. That's just me. I don't think they've seen a running back with the caliber that we've seen, that we have, nor have we seen, right? We saw Ashton Jinty.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a,
That's very fair.
there's a lot that I think our defense has learned from in that one game, because we've seen after that game, things just kind of basically went 180 for our defense. So I just feel like we are more prepared, for this game than Ohio State is.
Let's get into our duck calls. We break down a couple of things we want to see out of this team in week 7 and make some predictions for Saturday. What is your biggest duck call this week?
My biggest duck call: run the ball. I want to see almost abusive, abusing the run game, abusing the calls. Right. I want Jordan James to have 25 carries.
Okay. Yeah.
And I want to see design runs for Dylan Gabriel. The RPO action has to come into play. This is where you ask your quarterback to utilize what God gave him, which is, gave him speed, gave him ability to make guys miss. So adding that into, the play calling would be huge, and it would just open up things in the passing game. Getting that secondary to creep up and be able to take shots is going to be huge.
Well, that's something too that when we were talking to Chimdi and Bryant, they kind of harped on, all right, Ohio State may not be great at containing quarterback runs. And in my head, I was like, okay, I mean, I don't know Ohio State as well as they do. I didn't know that. So it's like, okay, I really want to see how the Buckeyes do with trying to contain Gabriel and how Oregon does trying to get him out in space.
Yeah. I remember we played USC when USC came to Oregon. And I remember after that game, I'm like, Dennis, are you sore? Because I think he ran the ball. There was legit at least 12 run plays
Wow.
called
Yeah.
with designed for him to run the ball, or with the RPO and everything.
Yeah.
Which was a heavy load for him. And because we ran the ball to basically, create this time of possession, keep our defense off the field and all those types of things. Because I mean, obviously, it was a big game where we were ranked, and USC coming into the house, and we're trying to create some momentum. And it's very similar here, where I think Chip Kelly is going to definitely draw up some more run plays. I think is what we're going to see. That's different than what they've been doing, right? They're going to ask a lot out of their quarterback. And so we got to be able to do the same.
My biggest duck call for this week, I want Oregon's secondary to have a great game. Every week we've seen Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Egbuka just make highlight reel plays that get spread all over social media. I don't want to see that in this game. The Ducks have, struggled with some big time receivers in the past in these big games. I think back to the Washington games last year with Rome Odunze and Jalen Polk and Jalen McMillan, all that they did. I think that would show the most growth for this team and this defense this year. If they can go up against this wide receiver unit and the secondary can just match up with them and shut them down. Maybe not even shut them down, but just limit to them, make sure that they don't have this massive, massive day, which we all know they're capable of. That's definitely my biggest wish for this game on Saturday.
Yeah, watch out for the tunnel screens.
Okay, tunnel screens. Do you have a final score prediction for me before we get out of here?
Yes, I do. I'm going to go 30-21.
You're going to 30-21 Oregon?
Yeah.
30-21. Okay. We disagree. I think that's the first time we disagreed all year on the score predictions. I've got Ohio State 24, Oregon 20. And I hate it. I don't feel good about it. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, you will
we'll
be
see.
wrong. You will be wrong.
I hope so, man. I'm just going with my head over my heart. I think Ohio State may be the better team, but man, really,
Well, let's
really
just
hope
go
I'm
ahead
wrong.
and make this a clip here. Go when you're going looking for this clip, it'll be at 16 minutes and 47 seconds.
Got it.
Oregon's gonna win 31-20.
Okay.
Period. I don't care what anyone has to say. Argue with your mama. Replay this and just know that I was right from the jump.
Okay.
And if it's more, then it's more.
Then you're wrong.
But we win.
All right, let's wrap it up there. We will be back, you guys, this weekend to recap the game. Jay Stu will be in town this week, so you see him around on campus. Make sure to say what's up.
Yeah,
Jay
say what's
Stu, you
up.
got anything else to add?
Yeah, man, I'll be on campus. I might come to y'all classes, see if I can learn something.
Okay, let's see how that goes. All right, you can check out more of my work at duckswire.usatoday.com. Follow me, Zachary C. Neel, on Twitter. Follow Jay Stu on Twitter at JonathanStuR1. Make sure to check out the Bleav and Panthers podcast and the Stu and Crew podcast. For myself, Zach Neel, for my co-host, Jonathan Stewart, we will talk to you guys next week. Until then, take it easy.